versus The Appetizer.
Hey everybody, I'm Vince, and welcome to Vince versus... Vince versus what? Vince versus The Appetizer. Who ordered an appetizer? What is this appetizer of which you speak? Are they bacon potato bombs? Because that sounds pretty delicious. No, what it is an album called The Appetizer by a gentleman that goes by the name of Sindakid. That's right, Sindakid. So while we were in New York, this guy shouted something at me. We were walking down Times Square, and this guy shouted something at me that I thought was really funny. And this guy said, "Hey, do you like black people?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And he said, "Well, then shake a black man's hand." And I said, "All right, how you doing?" And I was kind of on my way. My wife and I, being on our honeymoon at that time, we're on our way to do something. I forget what it was. But I don't remember at which point during the honeymoon this happened. But he said, "Well, shake a black man's hand." So I shook his hand, and I was trying to kind of keep going where I was going. And he said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Vince." Well, because that's my name. So he said, "Well, Vince," and then he signs my name to this thing, and I went, "Oh, I just bought that, didn't I?" All right, okay. So, I mean, the guy was very good at what he did, and I thought it was really funny that he was saying that. So it was an interesting way to get someone's attention. So I thought it was funny, so I didn't necessarily mind giving him a little bit for his album. But so here's the deal with this. I didn't expect to enjoy it. You know, if somebody shouts at you and says, "Here, take this," you don't necessarily think it's going to be good. You know, you think it's going to be just something that somebody made in their basement. Now, here's the deal: the audio quality on this album is really pretty solid, and so I was amazed at how clear everything is. Even some of the live stuff on here is pretty clear. I thought, wow, I can't believe I can actually hear this. So this is a fairly professionally done album by a gentleman known as Sindakid. So I popped this in the player and I listened to a couple songs, and I expected to turn it off after a couple songs. I expected to have been like, no big deal. But as the album played, now I'll say this, by the way, there's 17 songs on here. There's 17 tracks. For an album called The Appetizer, that's kind of ridiculously big, because generally an appetizer is supposed to be something that's tasty but not filling, something that's gonna get you ready for what's coming next. But what that really tells me, and now maybe this is just advertising, maybe this is just clever advertising on his part, but what that really tells me is that this guy has quite an extensive repertoire out there, or that, or maybe it's not even that he has an extensive repertoire, but he's trying to tell us that he has a lot more to offer. Maybe that's what it is. He says, "Hey, this is what I have right now, but you come back in 10 months and I'll have a whole album more. It's going to be ridiculous. You got to go see it." So this guy, to my understanding, he does live stuff, but because the opening of the album is some guy introducing him saying, "Times Square Hustler, this street hustler," which I forget what the second one was. Oh well, maybe Broadway, who knows. And he says, "Sindakid," and Sindakid comes out, and then they switch over these, or at least what is presumably studio tracks, and because they're very clean. And I don't mean clean as in no profanity. I don't recommend this to people that are adverse to some profanity, or adult themes for that matter. But here's what I liked a lot about Sindakid's album. The beat was each song, well, not all the songs. I mean, if any of these songs are created within a certain time frame of each other, there's a possibility that they will share similar beats. But for the most part, between most of these 17 tracks, the beats are fairly individual. I don't necessarily feel like one song is incredibly similar to another song. It doesn't all sound the same. So he has a good way of differentiating between things. Now, something that I think is really interesting, and again, I don't have a heck of a lot that I would really need to say about this, but Sindakid's lyrics musically add to the beat. The beat is only half formed until the words are added in. So his words, and some people out there are like, well, yeah, that's what rap's for. That's what hip hop is. You got to have the lyrics to, or not. I mean, these things are elements of a song, which is a fact. You know, it's something that should be obvious, but for some people, sometimes when musicians make music, they just make it congested. They create a beat that works independently of words, and then they try to add words on top. That is not what we have here. We have a cadence of vocals. We have vocals that add to the beat. The beat does not seem as sophisticated as it does without the vocals. So that's really interesting to me, is how much the vocals actually add to the overall quality of the song. So it's the signature's on the back, just so you know. Here it is. But so I ended up really enjoying this. So what I thought was going to be just listening to a couple tracks turned into me listening to the entire album. And in fact, I listened to the album half again before I did this, because I was cleaning today, and I was kind of listening to this album while I was cleaning, and I ended up enjoying most of it. So I just let it go. I just let it keep rolling, and which I'm not sure how my neighbors felt about that, because I have a neighbor that listens to rap, and he kind of gave me this, I kind of felt this look as he walked by, like, you don't usually listen to that. Usually I hear you listening to well, more rockabilly-ish stuff, honestly, but or the big things I listen to being Stray Cats and White Zombie and Brian Setzer and things of that kind, B.B. King, stuff like that, oldies too. But so that's really where my background lies. But and some of this kind of has an R&B influence to it, which I think is welcome. I feel like rap and R&B kind of don't necessarily go hand in hand, but they do work well together. So I enjoyed quite a lot of this album. Now, the one complaint that I had about this album was not so much what the lyrics brought to the song, but rather the themes of the lyrics. I felt like the themes of the lyrics were, now maybe this gentleman lives a life that is indicative of what are in his lyrics, but the thing about his lyrics, they felt a little too of the character of rappers. If that makes any sense. What I'm saying is that a lot of the time I feel like what rappers do is they have a character that they are essentially making a song about. They are putting on this persona of this character to sing about this guy's life. Now, maybe this guy's life was way back when. Maybe rappers were singing about this character that they used to be. Maybe it's they got off the streets and now they're doing this music. Or maybe they're still on the streets and they're talking about their life right now. But what I think would really separate this, what I think would separate Sindakid from the rest of the rap community, and I don't mean separate him as in exile him. I mean separate him as a set him apart, set him as a recognizable difference, would be if he tried to make his lyrics more about maybe social commentary. Maybe he needs to make something that's a little more poetic, meaning something that's commenting on the human condition, as opposed to what a lot of it's about is just desires and things that you want, things that you're working towards. Well, maybe we need to hear more about your existence. Maybe that's what we need to hear, is something a little more like poetry. So now we know what it's like for you to live in this particular situation. Now, what does living in that particular situation really bring to your overall existence, I think is what I'm trying to say would set this guy apart. I think his beats are competent. I think he has great instincts for how to tie his vocals into his beats. Granted, I'm not sure who made the beats or who made the vocals, but I'm assuming Sindakid did it, because that's who it is, and he's the handsome hustler. So I quite enjoyed this, and I enjoyed the experience of him passing this album on to me. So little did he know that he was talking to a guy that might actually review this thing on YouTube. So again, I enjoyed this. I don't know if there's anywhere that you guys could possibly find it. I guess if you live in New York, you could go down to Times Square on occasion and just see if you can find him, or maybe he's doing a show somewhere. See if you can find Sindakid and see if he's doing a show. I mean, I think it's worth time to look at. I think that as a creator of beats, I think he's pretty competent. I think as an overall musician, there's a little maturing to do that can really set him apart. But that's what we do in any creative form. We work our way up. It's not just about paying dues is not just about getting your name out there. Of course, that's a large part of it, and that's essentially what he's done right now. But with giving this to me, he's given by giving this to anybody, that's exactly what he's doing. Is he's getting his name out there. So he says here, and then suddenly you've heard of Sindakid. But so part of getting your name out there, part of paying your dues, is that you work at your craft. And I kind of feel like, I guess what I'm saying is that this is good. This is good rap. This is good, or hip hop, or however you wish to say it. But this is good. I just think that maybe it's a little further away from art than what it could be. Does that make sense? Than what it could be. So I think I like this. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, thanks for watching Vince Versus, and we'll catch you next time when Vince is versing something else.